Hey there, and welcome to another episode of Women Lead TV brought to you by Connected Women of Influence. I'm Michelle Bergquist, your host today. I have a weird name. It's of Influential Women is my name of my show. But look, we have a dedicated dude that's with us today and an awesome influential man. We're going to go with that. So I want to introduce my guest today. We'll say influential men today, Dan. Is that okay?
That works for me.
That's so awesome. So we're excited. I'm excited again because we're introducing yet another host to our Women Lead TV series. And with me today, introducing his new show, The Present, is the amazing, is the wonderful Daniel Olexa. And he is the owner and he is known as, oh my God, I'm just going to say it's the Trust Catalyst, kind of like the Ohio State. If we were talking football before, I think you need to use the Trust Catalyst. And his company name is Transcendent Living. So Daniel, say good morning, hello, good afternoon, welcome to the show.
Good morning, good afternoon, hello, welcome to the show.
I love that. Let me tell our viewers just a little bit about you. This could take us 5 hours, but I'm going to do it briefly. So you are the Trust Catalyst and the founder of Transcendent Living, as we said. He absolutely energizes burnt out individuals to rediscover their trust in themselves so they may live an integrated, balanced life in body, mind, and spirit. You definitely exhibit this. Daniel is a 3-time, not 1-time, not 2-time, but 3-time Amazon #1 bestselling author. He's a life coach trainer, keynote speaker, past Sue Talks presenter. You forgot to put that one in here. Award-winning hypnotherapist. Oh my God, award-winning hypnotherapist. Absolutely holistic entrepreneur and founder of Transcendent Living. He serves international clients from his home base. This is where I'm jealous, in Sonoma County, California. That's the part that I'm the most jealous about. Not all the other stuff. It's that you're in Sonoma County. But you also shared with me before the show. So welcome. Like you have another designation that's coming about. Tell us about, another credential that you're going to have on your benchmark checklist.
Yeah, in the continued evolution of my personal development, both as my personal development, but also my professional growth, I have, you'll notice the initials after my name, PCC and CIHT. PCC is the designation for Professional Certified Coach, which is a credential with the International Coaching Federation. In late January, I put in my application for my MCC, which is Master Certified Coach, which is the highest credential with the ICF. There's less than 2,500 of those individuals in the world. So hopefully by June or July, that should be a new designation.
So I would think you'd look really tired right now because you're studying so hard and doing all those wonderful things. Is it exhausting going through and getting those credentials and that certification?
It's work. It is serious work. MCC is a minimum of 2,500 client hours and 200 hours of training. So over the past 6+ years, just constant work, always looking to up level, working with mentors to improve my game and how I do my work. And it's that thing when you love what you do, it doesn't seem like work. And it's been such a fun journey.
And I know you are, again, just some of the conversations we've had, it's like you truly exhibit what you're all about. So congratulations early on the designation, which I think is super cool. And only 2,500, that's a big deal. Let's just say. Maybe I should take a bow to you. We'll go with that. But let's more than that. Let's do this. Let's talk a little bit about this new show series of yours called The Present. Is it The Present, kind of like the Ohio State, or we just go The Present?
I think we should stick with the. It sounds very royal.
It does.
Just roll with that the.
You can't say the Ohio State without going, oh my God, they're better, right? I'm sorry, we're going to get a lot of comments on that one, but I like the idea of The Present. So what does The Present in your show series, what's that going to be about? What's the reason for the title, and what's the show kind of overall about?
It's a bit of a double meaning because there's let's play with the two distinctions here. The present as a gift, like something that's received, and the gift of being in the present is very much what I do with my clients when we're in coaching, because coaching for me, and somewhat for the ICF as well, does not take place in the past. ICF distinguishes that as that is the space of therapy, and particularly discovery of the emotional past is the space of therapy. I don't care what happened in my client's past. It's over. It's done. It's written. Be here now and go forward. So when we're working together, if something organically has meaning that comes up from the past in our conversation from the client,
Hmm.
what's that mean right here and right now? Because it's over and done.
I like that.
Bring it here. How do we adjust it? How is how is that thing maybe influencing the present or the present? And if it's influencing it in a negative way, let's shift that story. Let's take ownership of an event that happened. You have no control over changing it anymore, but you can change your association to it in the present and
I
discard it
like
if it no
that.
longer serves.
Well, and I'm curious about that because you think of psychologists, right, or therapists, it's like they really do to explore your past. So is that kind of common among coaching that you really only focus on the present and then go forward? Is that
For
the distinction?
it's one of the distinctions for the ICF, the International Coaching Federation, that coaching is about here and now and moving forward. And to bring it into like a bit of a broader discussion, one of my favorite books over the past couple of years is The Courage to Be Disliked. It's written by two Japanese authors. And it's written around the philosophy of Alfred Adler, who was a contemporary of Freud and Jung. And where Freud and Jung said, oh, the trauma happened in the past, facilitate the past. Adler looked at it and said, yeah, it happened then, but we're talking about it now. Let's stay in the moment and go forward. So Adler's work might be a little bit more in alignment with what coaching is considered today. And I find it's more powerful. Why are we going back into the sewer?
Oh,
That's
wow.
not where anybody wants to go. Let's
No.
stay here and wash it off.
I had a visual that I'm sorry is going to be on my mind the rest of the day. Thank you for that
You're
lovely
welcome. Happy Monday.
a happy Monday, exactly. Let's start the week off right with the visual of a sewer. So, but I like the idea of the present, and with that, I know tell our viewers just a little bit more about what is transcendent living, and it's like what do you do in business, so people know. They have your credentials down now, but it's like what do you actually do as a coach with individuals?
I help my clients to really connect to their power, that move away from all the limiting stories, the I can't do this, I don't know how to, I don't know if I should, or being in stuck between I don't know which thing I should choose. You actually know when we slow down and really tap into what is the thing that drives you and drives any of my clients. And it's fascinating to me as we really drop into that space of a deeper understanding of self and we get out of our heads and what we think we're supposed to do, or get out of a heart overload of how we feel or what we're worried about how other people are going to feel if we do our thing. That's part of the courage to be disliked too. Just get over other people's
I
stuff because
love
it's
the
not
name of
yours.
that book. I'm going to get that book. I wrote it
It's
down.
awesome.
Yeah.
When we tap into our core wisdom of who we are and how powerful we are, that's when we really transcend or rise above the way everybody else is living, and we start living for ourselves and have bigger impact.
I like that. That sounds so calming. Like, are you always that calm with your clients, or do you like, because some people get really animated. I'm curious because you just have
Yeah, I
this
don't do the Tony Robbins thing. It's like I don't want to push somebody through a door before they're ready, but I'll invite them to step through it on their own. I'm
that's
I'm
pretty.
I'm very methodical in the way that I do my work. It's
Yeah,
fascinating.
you are. I always mean that as a compliment because I said every time I talk with you and we're interacting, I'm like, dude, you are so calm, and it's like you just got these wise little slices of information that go, wow, mind blow. So anyway, let's go back to your show because that's the most
Mhm.
important part, right? Is the present. What kind of guests are you going to invite? Like, what are you thinking of? It's like, what's going to be the purpose of the show? A little bit more in detail with your guests. Go into that with us.
Yeah, so we've got them all lined out for the rest of the year, which is
Great.
absolutely awesome.
That is.
On June 5th, I'll be chatting with my friend Bob Russo, who is an executive coach in the New York area on the East Coast. And he is very much about bringing conversations of spirit and soul into the corporate environment. The thing that's missing in corporate and in all the doing disappears in the spiritual connect the spiritual connection disappears in those conversations a lot, but that's where a lot of growth and wisdom can take place. So he'll be here on the 5th. On August 28th, I'll have Nick Smith, who is also a coach. He's the author of The Giants and the Smalls, which is a fascinating book on really about his journey and his learning in partnering with a gentleman named Steve Hardison, who is a
Mhm.
legend in the coaching field. It's really a book for when you first look at it, it looks like a children's book, but it's really written for adults and all
Mhm.
ages. I was lucky to be presented with a copy from Steve Hardison a couple years ago when I met him personally, and I became a friend with Nick. And his message is awesome. He has a new book coming out as well. And then on October 30th, I'll be interviewing Daniel Gutierrez, who runs Catalina Retreat Center in Peru, which is where I do my retreats, and talk on his journey of being very high up in corporate, being an advisor to the Obama administration, and then stepping away from it all, reconnecting to his spiritual roots, and eventually opening a retreat center in near Pisac, Peru.
Wow. Okay. Blow. Wow. 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 That's pretty cool. And so you're interviewing all these coaches, which sound amazing. They sound like fabulous thought leaders. Through them, is it still going to be under the umbrella of the present, and kind of like each coach kind of has a different perspective, or what's kind of the end result you want people to leave with out of watching your shows that are coming up?
How each of these individuals at a moment in time came to an awareness of shifting their life and making bold changes in that shift.
Wow. I had to just stop for a moment and just pause on that one. That's kind of cool. I love it. I love it. Let's talk a little bit more about you, if you don't mind, because I know you are very focused on what you do and how you help people. Like what is a kind of like maybe a client story that you can share of the experience of working with you, as obviously, under Transcendent Living, that the end result was amazing, without obviously giving names and things like that. But
There's two that I think of that are very different stories. One individual had been, how do I want to say this? Had been very challenged with an event that had happened in their family. It was a family loss. And through our work together, was able to release all the negative story they were carrying about it, and be able to move forward knowing that person was no longer in their life anymore, and rather than feeling a vacuum, had found a way to fulfill self and carry forward, still honoring the memory and legacy of that person. The others, I think there's like 3 or 4 here that I can blend into one. Professional corporate individuals, particularly in sales environments, who I was a sales guy for a long time. I know the stories. I know the feelings of, the people aren't buying, the leads aren't there. We just can't get it done. And shifting out of those stories and focusing on what is present. What else is there? Because opportunities and obstacles exist all the time, and they coexist. But if we get stuck looking at only seeing the obstacles, we miss the opportunities that are right there in front of us. And a lot of what I do is, let's slow down. What's the other side of this? What else is there when you've got one eye closed? What are you not seeing? And that's where we really slow down. What's here right now?
It is interesting, Daniel, because I hear so many coaches say it's like the stuck, getting unstuck kind of philosophy. Yet, every coach has their own different approach. So what is maybe unique or different about yours and how you work with clients on the, unstuckness part? I just came up with a new word, maybe.
Unstuckness. Can I swear here or not?
We'll just say unethness, and I think we're good. We're good.
Okay, I go interrupt there. I'll paraphrase it.
I'm the one saying that word ahead of time, but okay, good. You thought it.
The big difference between me and maybe other coaches, I don't give a damn about my clients' problems. They're making them. We, and I include me in this because I create my own problems too. Yeah. It's like I'm not floating 3 feet off the ground at the top of a mountain levitating. We all create our own problems, or we exacerbate them. I don't care about your problem. I care about how you're creating it. I care about the person in front of me and what they're going through. When they understand themselves, the problems go away, or they find their power over it. That's where my work differs.
Wow, crazy. Crazy. I love that. I love it. I love it. Here's some accomplishments I know I want to put out about you. And then I, just still have a couple more questions for you. But how exciting. You were featured on KTLA in Los Angeles just last December. What was that like? I mean, how did that come about? Because I think that's super cool.
It was awesome. I met Casey Montoya years ago,
Uh-huh.
and we've stayed in contact for social media connections. And she was evidently asked to do a story on coaching and how the coaching industry was booming, and invited me to be interviewed as part of that. So, giving the distinctions between, there's coaches out there who just hang a shingle and say, I'm a coach, with no training or maybe a little bit of training. And then there's the individuals like associated with the ICF who go through rigorous training and have ongoing training requirements to be part of the industry.
Wow. I thought that that was super cool. So I do know, I think I heard you gave a shout out to Sue Talk. So I
Mhm.
do want, for anybody who wants to hear about your background and your story and what drives you, it's like, please go to SueTalks.com and check out Daniel's Sue Talk. So what was the title of your Sue Talk again?
There are no accidents in the universe.
Nice. Okay. Just last couple questions. What do you want our viewers to know of what got you into the coaching industry? I know there's a story, there's one in your Sue Talk, but for our live viewers, what got you into coaching?
I ran away from corporate in 2014, screaming, burned out, tired, irritated working for other people. And through a weird series, I shouldn't say weird, that's a bit judgmental, through an interesting series of universal alignments, discovered hypnotherapy first and became a hypnotherapist, which is the other set of initials after my name. And then as I was working with individuals there, if I'd be out networking, even just meeting people personally, they say, so what do you do? Oh, I'm a hypnotherapist. One of two responses, and two responses only, no gray area in between. It was either the coolest thing ever, or they thought I was going to make them dance like a chicken when I shook their hand. Like, I want to work with people who have a fear of hypnotherapy, and I branched into coaching, which the way I was trained in hypnotherapy is very much in alignment with the coaching model, that the client's in charge, the client's the expert in their life, and I facilitate both the same way. And that's what pulled me into coaching. But I also, looking back on life, I've always kind of been one. It's intrinsic to who I am. I've always been interested in helping other people do better.
Wow. I know it's in your soul, it's in your heart because it always comes out. So, what do you want all our viewers, that are watching live and those that watch afterwards? What else do you want them to know about the show, the present, and why are you excited to do this? I'm really curious. I don't think I asked that. What are you excited about with the show?
Through other people's stories, we can learn about ourselves,
Mm,
and particularly individuals who have attained some level of achievement, whether it's in business life and personal life. Um, we tend to see them at the peak. We don't know what the obstacles were along the way. And I think having conversations with people who have risen to a certain stature or have certain achievements, it's important to go back and realize that at some point in their life, they were stuck and challenged the same way a lot of us are now. And if
yeah.
they can do it, we can do it.
That's pretty awesome. That's pretty honest. Okay. Well, is there anything I haven't asked you that you want to share with our listeners other than how can they reach you if they want to reach out to you? Because I know we've got your website URL floating across the bottom of the screen, but how do you want people to connect with you?
Easiest way to reach me is through email at daniel@transcendentliving.com, or even daniel@danielolexa.com. They will both find their way to me. I can't hide.
Easily. I love it. And I think, what this just came to me. I'm going, we're called Women Lead TV. But we're not an island to ourselves as women. So you are very, very respected in our association of women in business and leaders in who we do as one of our dedicated dudes. And we mean that as an endearing title. But what are you? I mean, you're on Women Lead TV and you're being a host. What's that like? And you're a guy. Like, explain that.
I have a very nurturing energy to myself. I think I'm more aligned to the divine feminine than to the divine masculine in so many different ways. Or as my wife calls me, I'm a human Xanax.
You
I
are.
just have
And
this
yet
calm.
you do have that. And yet it's like, I have to tell you, I interview so many women all the time. And as soon as you popped up with your screen, I've never seen you in a video setting before, you and I, because we always talk either in person or it's like on the phone. And I was like, oh my God, look at the sports analogy. And I was like, oh my God, it's the Kansas City Chiefs, who I absolutely love. And that was a whole conversation. So not many women show up with football jerseys behind them. So I think that
Mhm.
sets you apart right there. I think that's super cool.
Yeah,
Super cool.
it's a point of conversation every time I teach a class.
It is. I should start putting some football stuff up in mine because I used to have a signed. We don't want to get into football. We'll talk football another time. I'll
Awesome.
bring you back for a football talk. We'll talk women and football. I think that's an idea. How's that?
That would be great. We should do that in like September,
You know what? No, no, no. Let's start it. When they start doing the preseason, let's go August,
August,
right?
August. Yeah.
I'm going to write that down, dude. I like that. All right. We're going to wrap up here for Women Lead TV. And I just want to say thank you. I'm so excited for your show, Dan. I want our listeners and viewers to watch in. You can watch Women Lead TV at our URL, which is womenleadtv.com. It's like Women Lead TV is brought to you by Connected Women of Influence. And I just want to say, I think your show is going to be amazing. Again, The Present. Your first show is when, Dan?
On June 5th, and it's the present. We determined that earlier. It's the long E,
The
the present.
present. I'm never going to say it the same way again. Never. The present. I think, yeah, you just have to go with that. All right. We're done with our show. Thank you for watching. To our viewers, thank you to our live audience. And we will be back again for another Women Lead TV show very soon.